Not silent, but calm in a deep way, like the pause before sleep. That belief broke apart the moment his ship alarm screamed through the cockpit. Red lights flashed. The control panel flickered. Outside the front window, the stars twisted like water being pulled down a drain. The jump had gone wrong. Eli gripped the controls with both hands. He was not a soldier. He was not a hero. He was a salvage pilot, the kind of person who flew where others refused to go, picking through old wrecks and forgotten stations. The job paid well because the risks were high. But this time, the risk had teeth. The signal had seemed simple. Old. Weak. A lost beacon drifting near an uncharted region. Easy credits. That was what Eli had told himself. Now the ship shook hard, metal crying as if it were alive. "Come on," Eli muttered. "Just hold together." The jump drive failed completely. The stars snapped back into place, but not where they should be. A massive dark shape filled the window. A planet. Too close. Eli pulled up, but gravity took hold like a giant hand. The ship screamed as heat wrapped around it. The hull burned. Systems died one by one. Eli felt the impact more than heard it. Everything went black. When he woke, pain came first. His head rang. His mouth tasted like metal. Eli opened his eyes slowly. Smoke drifted through the cockpit. The main window was cracked but intact. Outside, the sky was dark purple, heavy with thick clouds. The ground was black stone, sharp and uneven. He was alive. Eli unstrapped himself and stood on shaking legs. The ship was dead. No power. No signal. He checked the emergency panel. Nothing answered him. He laughed once, short and tired. "Well," he said to the empty cockpit, "that's bad." He grabbed his survival pack and stepped outside. The air was thin but breathable. Cold bit through his suit. The land stretched wide and empty, broken by tall stone shapes like dead towers. No plants. No sound. No movement. This world felt wrong. Eli walked for hours, following a shallow valley. The silence pressed on him. Even the wind seemed afraid to speak. His scanner showed faint energy readings beneath the ground, deep and old. As night fell, lights appeared. They rose from the stone like eyes opening. Blue and white lines formed paths, doors, shapes that had not been there before. The ground trembled softly. Something had noticed him. Eli stopped. Figures emerged from the light. They were tall and thin, wrapped in dark armor that bent light away from them. Their faces were hidden behind smooth masks. They carried long weapons that hummed with power. Eli raised his hands. "Hey," he said, "I'm not here to cause trouble." They did not answer. A sharp pain struck his neck. The world tilted. Eli fell into darkness again. He woke in chains. Cold metal wrapped his wrists and ankles. He lay on a smooth floor that glowed faintly beneath him. The air was warmer here. Clean. A low sound filled the space, like a distant heartbeat. Eli lifted his head. The room was vast. Walls curved upward into shadow. Tall shapes lined the sides, watching. Hundreds of eyes reflected light back at him. Aliens, more than he had ever seen in one place. Fear tightened his chest. Guards pulled him to his feet. He stumbled but did not fall. They pushed him forward along a long path of light. At the far end of the chamber, a raised platform waited. Something sat upon it. Eli's steps slowed. The figure was larger than the others, wrapped in flowing armor that looked grown, not built. A crown of living crystal rested upon her head. Her skin was pale silver, her eyes deep and dark like space without stars. This was the queen. The guards forced Eli to his knees. The room fell silent. The queen rose. Eli felt every eye on him. His heart hammered so hard he thought it might break his ribs. He waited for pain, for death, for something. Instead, the queen did something impossible. She stepped down from her throne. Gasps rippled through the chamber. The tall figures shifted in shock. Some stepped back. Others lowered their heads in fear. The queen stopped in front of Eli. She looked at him closely. Her expression changed from sharp focus to something else. Wonder. Relief. Fear. Then she knelt. The sound echoed like thunder. Eli's mind went blank. The queen lowered herself fully, one knee to the glowing floor, her head bowed before him. Her guards froze, unable to move. A voice spoke, soft but powerful, carried by hidden speakers and living walls. "He has returned." Eli swallowed. "I think," he said slowly, "you've made a mistake." No one laughed. The Queen lifted her head, her eyes locked onto his. They were wet with something that looked like tears. "You walk in flesh," she said, "just as the records promised." Eli shook his head. "I don't know you. I've never been here." Murmurs spread across the chamber. An elder stepped forward, his armor marked with symbols and age. His voice trembled with anger. "This cannot be allowed," he said. "Legends do not breathe. A queen, stand." The Queen did not move. She reached out and touched the chain on Eli's wrist. The metal sparked and fell away like dust. The other chains followed. Eli stood slowly, unsure if his legs would hold him. "Why?" he asked. "Why me?" The Queen rose to her full height. "Because you are human," she said. The word rolled through the chamber like a wave. Fear followed it. Awe. Hatred. Eli felt suddenly very small. "I'm just one human," he said. "I fix broken ships." The Queen turned to her people. "Long before our rise," she said, "before our cities and stars, there were travelers. They came from a small world. They taught us. They protected us. Then they vanished." Her eyes returned to Eli. "They said one would return when we stood at the edge of ending." A deep horn sounded. Red light flashed across the walls. A figure rushed forward, speaking fast and sharp. "Enemy forces have crossed the outer line," the messenger said. "3 systems are burning." The chamber erupted in noise. Eli looked from face to face. Fear everywhere. "I didn't sign up for this," he said quietly. The Queen met his gaze. "None of us did," she said. "Yet here we are." She raised her hand. The room calmed. "Prepare the guest chambers," she commanded. "No harm comes to him." Some obeyed. Others hesitated. The elder clenched his fists. "This human is danger," he said. "Faith does not win wars." The Queen's voice hardened. "Neither does fear." She turned back to Eli. "You are not our prisoner," she said. "Well, you are our question." Eli let out a slow breath. "I don't have answers," he said. The Queen nodded. "Then we will find them together." As guards led him away, Eli looked back once. The Queen stood tall again, but her hands shook slightly at her sides. Deep beneath the city, ancient machines stirred, and far beyond the planet, something dark changed its course. Eli walked through the palace corridors with careful steps. The floor glowed faintly under his boots, and the walls seemed alive, pulsing with light like a heartbeat. He was no longer in chains, yet every guard around him carried the same rigid tension, their eyes wary. He felt like a prize, a puzzle, and a danger all at once. The chamber they brought him to was enormous, filled with strange machines and glowing glyphs on the walls. Ryan, a scholar among the aliens, stepped forward. Unlike the other guards, his face was open, curious, and not hidden behind a mask. His skin shimmered in bronze, and his eyes were a deep amber that seemed to look right through Eli. "You are unusual," Ryan said softly, leaning over one of the tables covered in glowing holograms. "We have records, yes, but records lie in symbols, not flesh. You," he paused, as if he was choosing the words carefully, "you are proof of something greater." Eli rubbed his arms. "I really don't understand." "Proof of what?" Ryan waved a hand, and the glyphs on the walls shifted and changed, forming shapes Eli could not recognize. "Long ago, humans came to us. Not all at once, not in armies, but in whispers. They shaped worlds. They taught our ancestors the ways of the stars, the ways of machines, and then they disappeared. Only a few traces remained." Eli shook his head, trying to follow. "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a pilot. I fix things. I travel. That's all." "You are more than that," Ryan said. "These glyphs, these devices, they respond to you." He moved closer to a triangular console, and the lines lit up as Eli's hand hovered over it. Sparks ran through the patterns, and a low hum filled the room. Eli jumped back. "Whoa, I didn't touch anything." "You did," Ryan said quietly, almost in awe. "The machines recognize your presence. They have waited. They have been waiting." Eli looked around nervously. "For me?" "Yes," Rin whispered. "For one of your kind. It is written in our oldest texts that a human would return when the Empire faced its greatest danger. And now," his voice faltered, "now the time is near." Eli felt a chill creep through him. "I don't know anything about danger wars or whatever this is." Ryan shook his head. "You know more than you realize. The systems, the logic, the creativity humans carry, we cannot replicate it. Not fully. That is why you matter. That is why she knelt before you." The memory of the queen kneeling returned, a strange knot tightening in Eli's chest. I didn't ask for this. I didn't choose it. I don't even understand why she... Ryan held up a hand. Do not question the legends yet. You may not understand them fully, but your presence is enough. Enough to awaken what has been silent for centuries. Eli glanced at the walls. Silent machines waiting for me. I feel like a key in a lock I don't know. You are the key, Ryan said. And the lock is the defense of our empire. The room shook slightly and the lights pulsed in warning. Outside, the air filled with low rumbling. Ryan looked worried. You must see this. They moved quickly to a wide viewing platform that overlooked the city's outer defenses. Far beyond the city walls, alien ships patrolled in formation. Beyond them, red flashes erupted like lightning storms across the horizon. Enemy ships, huge, dark, and fast, stormed toward the planet. Eli swallowed hard. They're attacking? Ryan's eyes were steady. They are relentless. And if they succeed, we lose everything. This is why your arrival matters. Only you can awaken the old systems hidden beneath the surface. Systems? Eli repeated, disbelief in his voice. I don't even know where to start. I'm not a soldier. I'm just me. You will learn quickly, Ryan said. The older technology is human in origin. You understand machines in a way we cannot. The devices will respond to your instincts, to your logic, not ours. That is your gift. Eli felt the weight of the world, or rather, the weight of an entire alien empire pressing on him. So I have to save them? How? I've never fought a war. I barely survived a crash. You do not fight with weapons alone, Ryan explained. You fight with understanding, with ideas. That is the human way. That is why the Queen, why she knelt. She knows you carry what we cannot. And yet, Ryan's voice dropped. Some do not see it as hope. They see it as danger. Eli frowned. Danger? Me? Yes, Ryan said. Not everyone believes in legends. Some think you are a threat. One among our generals plans against you. He believes no human should hold power here, even indirectly. You must be careful. Trust very few. Eli ran a hand through his hair. This is insane. I'm a stranger on a planet that could kill me any second. And now they're asking me to do what, exactly? To awaken the old defense network, Ryan said simply. Hidden stations, weapons, shields, all sleeping for centuries. Only a human mind can bring them online. You do not need to command fleets or armies. You only need to think as we cannot think. Ellie's head spun. You're asking me to become some kind of superhuman? That's impossible. Ryan shook his head. You already are. You just don't know it yet. Come. See what waits beneath. They moved through secret doors hidden behind shifting walls of light. Eli felt like a child walking into a temple he did not understand. The steps led downward, deeper than anything he had seen. The air grew cooler, the glow from the walls more steady, and a low hum filled the space, vibrating through his bones. Finally, they reached a massive chamber. Eli gasped. It stretched farther than he could see, filled with enormous machines covered in glyphs and panels. Strange shapes hovered in the air, waiting to respond. Every system, Rin said, has been silent for centuries. Until now. You touch one, it wakes. You command one, it obeys. But the machines will not respond to anyone else. Only a human mind. Eli stepped forward, hesitant. His hand hovered over a panel. The moment he touched it, the chamber reacted. Lights raced along the walls. Sounds filled the air. Low, deep, almost musical. The machines pulsed like they were alive. Rin stepped back, awe on his face. It is true. The legends are real. Ellie took a deep breath. So, I'm real too? Yes, Ryan said. And your presence alone may save us all. Or doom us. The choice is yours, human. Before Eli could respond, alarms blared through the chamber. Red light flashed violently. A messenger alien ran in, panting. The outer systems are breached. Enemy ships are closer than expected. The city is under threat. Eli froze. His mind raced. He had no idea what he was doing. He had never led anyone or anything, and yet the machines pulsed at his touch, waiting for his command. Rin placed a hand on his shoulder. We have no time to explain further. You must act. Trust yourself. Trust what you are. Eli looked at the glowing machines. They hummed and shimmered like an old promise waiting for him. The weight of the Empire pressed on his shoulders. The knowledge that failure meant death for millions filled him with dread. And yet, beneath the fear, a spark flickered. He understood machines, tools, and systems. That was all he needed. Eli took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the machines under his fingertips. The alien city waited, the enemy ships waited, and the ancient devices waited for him to decide. For the first time since the crash, he felt a strange clarity. He was a human, far from home, in a world that did not understand him. But he was needed. And for now, that was enough. The chamber hummed, the walls pulsed, and the fate of an empire rested on a single human who still had no clue what he truly was. The machines, alive with centuries of expectation, waited, and Eli stepped forward. Eli's hands shook as he studied the glowing control panels. He had activated the first systems, and the hum of power filled the chamber like a living heartbeat. Machines that had slept for centuries were stirring, responding to his touch, their movements precise and confident. He felt a strange connection with them, as if the logic running through his mind matched their design. He still did not understand why, but he knew instinctively that he had to keep going. Rin watched from the side, his face full of awe and concern. "You are learning faster than I expected," he said, "but the outer fleets are closing in. We must move faster. The ancient orbital station can guide the planetary defenses, but it has been dormant for over 500 years. Its systems may resist anyone else." Ellie swallowed hard. 500 years? "And you want me to wake it?" "Yes," Ryan said firmly. "No one else can. The station responds to human thought patterns. You think differently. That difference is why the Queen knelt. That difference is why you are here." Eli looked out through the viewing window. The enemy fleet was approaching fast, dark ships slicing through space like knives. The first flashes of battle could already be seen as smaller skirmishes erupted near the city's outer defenses. Eli's stomach twisted. He had survived crash landings, space storms, and derelict stations filled with malfunctioning machines, but this was different. This was an entire empire at stake. Ryan led Eli through winding corridors and hidden lifts. As they moved, Eli caught glimpses of the alien society around him. Soldiers prepared weapons, technicians checked panels, and citizens moved through the city with tense urgency. Everything depended on what Eli could do in the next few hours. They arrived at a massive hangar where a shuttle awaited. The craft was unlike anything Eli had seen. Sleek, metallic, and almost alive, with lines that shifted subtly as if breathing. He climbed aboard cautiously. "The orbital station is old but functional," Rin said. "It lies in a silent orbit above our homeworld. You must interface directly. You are the only mind capable of synchronizing the ancient systems with our current fleet. If you fail, the enemy will destroy us." Eli nodded, even though fear gripped him like a vice. "All right, let's do it." The shuttle lifted smoothly, rising through the alien city and into the dark atmosphere. Outside, the approaching ships were like shadows against the stars. The alien defenders fired, but the enemy advanced relentlessly, faster and more numerous than anyone had predicted. As they reached orbit, Eli saw the orbital station ahead. It floated silently, a relic of a time before even the Queen's ancestors had ruled. It was massive, shaped like a triangle, with 3 long arms stretching into space, each ending in glowing nodes that pulsed faintly. Rin placed a hand on Eli's shoulder. "Remember, the station will resist you at first. It may feel like it is rejecting your mind, but it is waiting. Just as it waited for centuries. Trust yourself." Eli took a deep breath and stepped onto the platform. Panels shifted and hovered, forming patterns that seemed alien at first glance, but he felt their logic align with his own. Touched a glowing symbol, and the station pulsed under his fingertips. Lights streaked across the arms, energy flowing like water through veins. The first warning came seconds later. A ship from the enemy fleet breached the outer orbit and fired at the station. Explosions rocked the platform, throwing Eli off balance. He grabbed onto a console, trying to steady himself. Ryan's voice was urgent. "Focus. It will respond to you. You can stabilize it." Eli forced himself to breathe, to calm the rising panic. He let his mind follow the rhythm of the station, feeling its circuits, its energy flows, its dormant defenses. Slowly, almost magically, the station's systems accepted his commands. Shields flickered into life, energy beams arched toward the enemy, and the first few ships exploded in bursts of light. The alien fleet below cheered. Eli did not. His stomach sank as he realized the fight was far from over. More enemy ships appeared on the horizon, faster and stronger than the first wave. Ryan's face was grave. We have one advantage. The station is powerful, but it cannot hold forever. You must connect it fully to our planetary defenses. That requires another interface, one that has never been attempted. You alone can do it." Eli's head spun. "Never been attempted?" Ryan nodded. "Many have tried. All failed. Only you have the chance to succeed." The time for hesitation is past. Eli closed his eyes. The layout of the planet, the cities, the energy networks, and the alien machines beneath the surface. Slowly, he extended his mind to the station, imagining the flow of power, the alignment of energy, the patterns that would connect all defenses. It was like learning a language he did not know, yet somehow understood. The station responded. The arms rotated, energy channels opened, and panels lit in cascading sequences. The first nodes synchronized with the city's defense grids. A wave of energy swept across the planet, raising shields and activating turrets. Eli opened his eyes, seeing the enemy fleet react. Their ships struck the shields and were repelled with immense force. Explosions flared in the distance, and for a moment, hope returned. But then a warning appeared on the console. Red symbols flashed urgently. Eli frowned. The station was resisting further commands. Someone or something was interfering. Rin's eyes widened. "The General," he whispered. "He has begun his coup. He sees you as a threat. He is trying to disable the station from inside. If he succeeds..." Eli's heart sank. The enemy was one problem. The betrayal was another. "How do we stop him?" Ryan shook his head. "I do not know. You must handle it." Eli's hands flew across the panels, following instincts he did not fully understand. The station resisted, panels flashing, energy surging. He reached deeper, connecting with the machine on a level that felt almost personal. Slowly, the interference weakened. The red symbols faded. The system accepted his commands again. The enemy fleet recoiled as planetary defenses struck with unprecedented precision. Ships exploded in waves, and the alien fleet below adapted to the new tactical advantage. Eli's pulse raced. For a brief moment, he felt triumph. But then the station shuddered violently. A message appeared in glowing text, incomprehensible, yet terrifying. Eli did not need to read it to know something ancient, something dangerous, had been awakened by his presence. Rin grabbed his shoulder. "What did you do?" I don't know," Eli said, voice trembling. "I just followed the logic." The station pulsed again, faster this time, almost alive, as if testing him. Light stretched across the orbital arms, signaling far beyond the planet deep into space. Eli felt a presence, something vast and waiting, something aware of him. Then the shuttle trembled. Outside, a new wave of enemy ships appeared, larger, faster, and more heavily armed than before. Their weapons charged, energy flowing in destructive arcs. Eli realized with sudden clarity that the real battle had just begun. He looked at Ryan. "We're not ready for this." Ryan shook his head. "No one is ready. Only you." Eli turned back to the station. He felt the hum of power beneath his fingertips, felt its rhythm, felt its heartbeat. The system was alive. He was alive. And somehow, together, they could fight. He closed his eyes and let his mind merge with the ancient intelligence, the machinery, the patterns. He became the station. He became the network. He became the human element the legends had spoken of. Outside, enemy ships fired. Explosions lit the dark space. The alien fleet responded with perfect precision, guided by his mind. Ships fell, shields held, energy beams cut through the void, and still the orbital station waited. Still, it pulsed and hummed and tested him. Eli realized he had only begun to understand the magnitude of what he had awakened. The product, he was far from home, far from safety, surrounded by allies who looked to him for hope and enemies who wanted to destroy him. Yet, for the first time, he felt a strange power, the ability to make a difference. The battle was not over, far from it, but Eli, the human, the stranger, the key, had begun to turn the tide, and deep in the shadows of the station, someone watched. A traitor, someone who would stop at nothing to see him fail. Eli's journey had only just entered its most dangerous phase, and the fate of an empire, an ancient network, and countless lives rested entirely in his hands. The hum of the orbital station pulsed beneath him, alive and waiting as the war unfolded around him, and Eli knew that the next choices he made would echo across the stars. Eli felt every vibration of the orbital station as if it were part of his own body. The hum of energy coursed through the consoles under his fingers, and the network of machines across the planet responded to his thoughts. Outside, the enemy fleet had grown in size, faster and more numerous than any battle he had ever imagined. Their weapons fired with deadly precision, yet the defenses he had activated held. The shields pulsed, energy beams struck, and alien ships maneuvered with sudden perfect coordination. "Keep it steady," Ryan's voice came over the comm. "We are barely holding the line." Eli's hands moved quickly across the controls. Each command he gave was instinctive, drawn from experience with machines he did not fully understand but somehow could think with. The panels shifted, glyphs glowed, energy flowed in perfect sequences. He could feel the enemy reacting, retreating when needed, advancing when they thought he would falter. Then the traitor made his move. From the shadows of the station, a tall figure emerged, his armor dark and glinting, eyes cold and calculating. This was the general who had resisted Eli from the beginning, convinced that a human in command would bring ruin. He carried a weapon designed to disable the station from the inside. With a swift motion, he activated it, sending pulses of interference through the system. Lights flickered violently, shields faltered, and turrets misfired. Eli stumbled backward, his mind racing. "Rin, he's inside." "He's trying to take control." Rin's voice was tense. "He cannot be allowed to succeed. You must stop him." Eli's pulse quickened. He had no training for this kind of fight, no knowledge of how to counter someone who could disrupt the network from within. He stared at the panels, thinking, trying to feel the logic of the station to find a path through the interference. Then an idea struck him. The machines responded to humans, yes, but the interference came from someone alien. If he could separate his commands from the traitor's influence, isolate the patterns, he could regain control. He focused, shutting out everything but the flow of energy and the logic running through the station. It was like threading a needle with lightning, but he managed to lock onto the systems closest to him. Slowly, the lights stabilized. Shields pulsed back to full strength. Turrets regained aim. The enemy fleet fired again, but now they faced an unbroken defense. The general growled and lunged toward Eli, activating his weapon manually. Sparks flew, panels cracked, and the station shook violently. Eli ducked, feeling heat and energy burn past him. He pressed harder on the controls, rerouting power to defensive nodes, locking the general out of the network. The machine responded to him alone. "Got it," Eli muttered as the general staggered back, defeated by the human logic he could not override. Ryan exhaled sharply. "You did it." The station is secure for now, but more will come." Outside, the battle continued. The enemy had learned quickly that the station was alive and responding. They concentrated fire on it, massive beams of energy striking the outer hull. Eli's hands moved tirelessly, guiding defensive patterns, rerouting power, and activating the orbital weapons. One by one, enemy ships exploded in controlled bursts. The alien fleet below cheered as the tide turned. Ships that had been trapped now maneuvered freely. Shields flared and pulses struck with perfect timing. Eli felt exhausted but alive, his mind burning from the constant connection with the network. Then a sudden alarm. A part of the station's energy grid faltered. Eli looked up and saw a fleet of enemy drones emerging from the shadows, invisible until they were too close. They moved fast, striking the station's weaker points. If they breached the hull, everything would collapse. Ryan's voice was urgent. "They are faster than before. You must anticipate their moves." Eli closed his eyes and imagined the paths of the drones, predicting where they would strike. Panels lit in sequences that guided the station's defense systems automatically. Energy beams arced perfectly, intercepting each attack. He felt the hum of the station synchronize with his own heartbeat. The drones exploded in flashes of blue and red. For a moment, hope returned. But then the platform shuddered again. Eli turned to see a massive breach opening in one of the station's outer arms. The traitor general had found a way to bypass the safeguards. He activated a heavy weapon that tore a hole in the hull, sending alarms ringing and warning lights flashing. Eli's stomach sank. He could not leave the station, yet he could not repair it fast enough from the consoles alone. He had to act physically. "Rin, I need to go there. Now." Rin hesitated. "The general is dangerous. The energy field... I don't care. He's going to destroy everything." Eli raced down the corridors, panels sparking around him. The station trembled with each strike from the enemy fleet outside. He reached the arm where the breach had opened. The general waited, weapon raised. His eyes were cold, and he smiled, confident that the human would fail. "You don't belong here," the general said. "You are a mistake." Eli didn't answer. He grabbed a control console embedded in the wall. Energy flowed into his gloves, connecting him to the station directly. The panels around them responded to his commands instantly. He could feel every node, every energy beam, every turret. The general fired. Eli dodged, activating a pulse that disrupted the weapon's flow. The fight was chaotic, violent, and fast. Sparks flew, panels shattered, and the hum of the station roared. Eli realized that brute force would not win this. He needed strategy, precision, and timing. Using the station's own automated targeting, he redirected energy to trap the general. Beams struck around him, cutting off his escape routes. "You underestimate humans," Eli said, as the energy enclosed the general, immobilizing him. Ryan arrived with a small team of soldiers, securing the general. "It is done," he said. "But this was only the first attack. More will come. The enemy knows now that we have awakened the station." Eli stepped back, hands trembling. "I don't know if I can keep doing this." Ryan placed a hand on his shoulder. "You can. You must. The Queen believes in you. The city believes in you. And the station. It has chosen you." Eli looked back at the massive network around him. Lights pulsed like a living heartbeat. He could feel the ancient intelligence within, alive, trusting him, waiting for his commands. It was a strange, heavy feeling, being both pilot and machine, human and network. Then a warning flashed across the main console. Symbols he had not seen before glowed in deep red. Eli frowned. Something else had activated. Something old, dangerous, and very powerful. "What now?" he muttered. Ryan's eyes widened. "That is the core, the original defense protocols. They have never been used. Not in history. Only you can access them." But he hesitated. "Many who tried before failed and were lost?" Eli swallowed. The enemy fleet outside still fired, the city below waited, and the orbital station hummed with expectation. He had survived crashes, betrayal, and impossible odds, yet the stakes had only grown higher. He took a deep breath. "I don't know if I'm ready," he said. "You are," Ryan said firmly. "And there is no choice. Only action." Eli nodded, stepping toward the control panel that glowed with ancient energy. His hands hovered over the symbols, and he felt the station respond immediately. The network pulsed like a heartbeat, as if it were alive, waiting for him to decide the fate of the city, the fleet, and the Empire itself.
Outside, enemy ships closed in. Inside, a traitor had been stopped.
But the real challenge, the one that could change everything, was about to begin. And Eli, human and stranger, pilot and key, took the first step toward it. The orbital station thrummed with life. The city below waited, and the enemy approached, unaware that a human mind had become the most dangerous force in the galaxy. The battle was far from over, yet Eli felt, for the first time, the weight of hope in his hands. Eli awoke slowly, his head pounding. He was no longer aboard the orbital station, nor surrounded by the glowing panels he had grown to understand. Instead, he was lying on a smooth floor, dimly lit by faint green light that seemed to come from the walls themselves. The air was cool and clean, unlike the thick energy pulses of the station. For a moment, he had no memory of where he was or what had happened. Then it came back. The battle, the enemy fleet, the orbital station responding to his mind. And then the jump, the escape, the sudden darkness. Eli swung his legs over the edge of the platform he lay on and sat up. Around him, the room was filled with strange machinery. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, yet something familiar hummed in the air, something that made his mind recognize the patterns without effort. A soft voice broke the silence. "Welcome, human." Eli looked up. A floating orb hovered before him, glowing faintly. Lines of light ran across its surface, forming symbols he could not read. The voice continued, calm and deliberate. "I am the intelligence left by your kind. We created this network before we vanished. You are the first to arrive who can understand it." Ellie blinked. "Wait, you're saying humans left this?" "Yes," the orb said. "Long ago, your species explored many worlds. You guided and protected alien civilizations, leaving knowledge behind. Then you vanished, leaving only traces. You were not meant to interfere directly, only to return when needed." Eli felt his stomach twist. "So, I'm supposed to save them? Again?" The orb pulsed. "Not supposed. You are the one who can. The aliens below fight an enemy they cannot defeat alone. You hold the key." Eli ran a hand over his face. "I barely understand the station, and now this. Why me? I'm just a pilot." The orb's light brightened. "Because your mind thinks differently. Your species' logic, intuition, and adaptability are not replicated here. You will guide the systems and awaken what is necessary." Eli swallowed. He remembered the queen kneeling before him, the whispers of the legends, and the battle outside the city. "So, the station, the defenses, I need to go back?" "Yes," the orb replied. "The war continues. Your allies need your guidance. The enemy is relentless. The city is not yet safe. You must decide." Eli rose slowly. His body ached from the jump in the battle, but his mind sharpened. He had learned to trust instinct, to feel the logic of machines beneath his fingertips. That trust had kept the station alive. Perhaps it could guide him again. He followed the corridor, passing strange devices that seemed almost alive. They hummed faintly as he passed, responding to his presence. One device projected a map of the galaxy, highlighting the alien homeworld and the surrounding enemy systems. Red blots spread outward, showing the enemy fleet advancing. Eli felt a knot in his stomach. He was far from home, far from safety, surrounded by allies who looked to him for hope, and enemies who wanted to destroy him. He had survived impossible odds, yet the challenge before him now felt larger than anything he could imagine. "Do you understand?" the orb asked, floating beside him. "The enemy closes in. They will destroy the city if you do not act." I think so," Eli said. "But how do I get back there? How do I reconnect with the station?" The orb pulsed again. "You must make the jump." "One way. No return until the systems are fully activated and the enemy is repelled. Your choices will guide the outcome. Trust your mind, human. Your instincts will synchronize with the ancient networks." Eli took a deep breath. "One way, I can't go back home yet. Not until this is done." "Yes," the orb said. "The station waits. The city waits. Lives depend on your actions." Eli approached a console embedded in the wall. Lights danced along its surface and symbols shifted as if alive. He placed his hands on the controls. A wave of energy surged through him, familiar and comforting yet overwhelming. He felt the orbital station in his mind, alive and pulsing, waiting for him to reconnect. Outside, the enemy fleet continued its advance, their ships moving faster, striking harder, pressing relentlessly toward the city. Eli could feel the tension of the alien defenders below, their hopes tied to his mind, to his ability to awaken the old systems. He focused, shutting out everything but the rhythm of the energy and the flow of logic within the station. Slowly, the orbital arms began to respond to his commands. Lights raced across the structure, energy flows shifted, and defensive shields strengthened. Turrets came online automatically, firing with deadly precision. Eli's pulse quickened. He could feel the network, alive beneath him, responding to his thoughts. For the first time since waking, he felt a strange clarity. The enemy fleet would not win. Not while he was connected to the station. Yet even as he controlled the defenses, he sensed another presence. Deep within the station, something ancient stirred, aware of him, testing him. It was not hostile, not yet, but it watched, waiting to see if he was worthy of commanding the network. Eli realized he had awakened more than just weapons. He had awakened a consciousness, something left by humans long ago, something that could think and act with him if he proved capable. The enemy fleet struck again. Eli directed the energy flows, guiding beams to intercept incoming ships. Explosions lit the darkness of space, ships shattered in bursts of fire, the alien defenders cheered below, their faith renewed. But the station shuddered, alarms blared. A massive energy surge struck the outer arm. Eli understood instantly. The enemy had discovered a weak point. He had to act faster. His hands flew over the panels, rerouting power, activating secondary defenses, improvising in ways he had never imagined. The station obeyed, responding to his intuition, to the logic he felt in his mind. Ryan's voice came through the comm. "You are doing it. You are saving them." Eli nodded, even though Ryan could not see him. He did not have time for words. He had to guide, to think, to react faster than the enemy could strike. The station pulsed in recognition, synchronizing fully with his mind. Defensive shields flared, energy beams struck with unerring accuracy, and the enemy fleet faltered. For a moment, hope blossomed. The alien fleet maneuvered freely, turrets fired automatically, and explosions lit the void. The enemy retreated, regrouping beyond the outer orbit. Eli exhaled, feeling the sweat on his brow. He had survived, he had protected the city, and the orbital station hummed steadily beneath his control. Then the orb spoke. "You have done well, human, but the battle is not over. Your presence awakened the original defenses. They will need you again. The enemy will return stronger. And you must decide what role you will play next. Will you remain a guardian, or will you leave and risk the Empire falling?" Eli looked out at the stars. at the fleet below, at the city he had helped save. He felt exhausted, but alive. He realized something deep within himself. The strength humans carried was not in power or weapons, but in choice. I will stay, Ellie said. I don't know what comes next, but I can't leave them now. Not when they need me. The orb pulsed brighter as if acknowledging his decision. Then you are ready, and in time, the aliens will understand why the Queen knelt. They will see the truth of your presence. Eli took a deep breath, feeling the rhythm of the station, the pulse of the city below, and the distant hum of the machines left by humans long ago. He understood, finally, that he was not alone, that he was part of something greater. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. The enemy fleet had retreated for now, but the war was far from over. Eli knew he would face impossible odds, betrayals and dangers yet unseen, but for the first time, he felt a steady certainty in his chest. He was human. He was here, and he was ready to guide what could not be saved by anyone else. The station pulsed in harmony with him. The city waited. The enemy would return. And Eli, pilot, stranger, human, and key, was ready for the challenge. Eli stood on the command deck of the orbital station, staring at the vast darkness of space. The stars burned cold and distant, but the enemy fleet loomed closer than ever before. He had returned at the darkest hour. The alien homeworld below was battered, cities in flames, defenses weakened. The Queen had sent messages calling the fleets to hold formation, but even they were exhausted, weary from constant battles. Eli knew that everything rested on his mind, his choices, and the systems he could command. He took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the station beneath his hands. Every machine, every weapon, every shield had learned to obey his logic. The human mind, the one they had called the Returned One, was now in command of an entire empire's defenses. But that also made him the greatest target. If he faltered, everything would fall. The enemy fleet advanced in perfect formation, dozens of massive ships cutting through the void. Their weapons glowed with destructive energy, aiming directly at the station and the cities below. Eli's eyes scanned the displays. Turrets fired, shields flared, but the enemy had grown stronger, more precise. They had learned from the previous encounters. This time, brute force alone would not be enough. Strategy, precision, and timing had to guide every action. Rin appeared at his side, tense but calm. They are faster than before. Their leaders have adapted. They know the station is alive because of you. You must anticipate them, Eli. Eli nodded, his fingers dancing across the glowing panels. I know. I'll think like they do. I'll predict them. He closed his eyes briefly, letting the rhythm of the machines flow through him. The orbital station responded instantly, lights pulsing and glyphs shifting as if alive. Energy beams surged, striking enemy ships before they could fire. Shields rippled, absorbing blasts. The alien fleet below adjusted, moving in perfect synchrony with his commands. But the enemy was relentless. They pushed harder, aiming for weak points, striking with devastating precision. Explosions rocked the station, panels shattered, alarms screamed. Eli ducked instinctively, feeling the vibrations run through him. He realized that the station had become an extension of his mind, but it demanded focus, constant attention, and courage. A sudden alert flashed on the main console. One of the outer arms had been breached. The enemy had found a new tactic, sending a group of massive ships in a coordinated strike. Eli's pulse quickened. This was the moment the legends had warned about. He could not fail. Rin, I need full control of planetary defenses, Eli said. I'm going to coordinate everything from here. Ryan nodded, activating channels to the ground forces. The alien soldiers and turrets below responded instantly to Eli's guidance. Every movement, every strike, every shield pulse was now synchronized. The battle became a dance of light and energy, a carefully choreographed display of destruction and survival. Eli's mind raced. He predicted enemy movements before they happened, guided energy flows, diverted power to weak points, and activated ancient weapons long dormant. Massive cannons on the orbital station fired automatically, precise enough to strike the enemy fleet before they could approach. Smaller defense platforms adjusted, creating traps and barriers that forced the enemy into deadly positions. Outside, explosions lit the darkness. Enemy ships fell in rapid succession. The alien fleet cheered, gaining confidence as their defenses strengthened. Eli could feel the relief in their movements, their trust in him, but he knew the danger was far from over. The enemy leaders were still alive, cunning, and capable of devastating surprises. Then the station shuddered violently. Energy pulsed erratically through the panels. Eli's eyes widened. What now? The core, Rin said. The station's original defense protocols, they have awakened fully. They are aware. Eli understood immediately. The ancient intelligence he had connected with was now active, observing his commands, testing his decisions. It could act on its own, but it needed a human mind to guide it. He took a deep breath and reached out with thought as well as hands. The network pulsed in response, obeying instinct and logic, synchronizing fully with him. The enemy fleet launched another massive strike, focusing on the city below. Energy beams sliced through space, threatening to destroy everything. Eli moved instantly. He rerouted the station's power, creating shields over critical areas, activating orbital cannons and sending automated drones to intercept incoming ships. The waves of destruction struck with unerring accuracy. The enemy fleet faltered, confusion spreading among their ranks. Ryan's voice came over the comm. "You're doing it. They cannot stand against this coordination." Eli nodded, though he felt no triumph. His eyes scanned the displays. One final wave of enemy ships approached, the largest and deadliest yet. Their weapons were massive, capable of breaking through the strongest defenses. If they succeeded, the planet would fall, the city would burn, and countless lives would be lost. He took a deep breath, focusing completely. His mind, the station, the machines below, the orbital cannons, they were all one. He predicted enemy patterns, calculated angles, and synchronized defenses. Beams of energy met enemy fire, colliding in bursts of light. Shields held, drones intercepted, turrets fired with perfect precision. The battle was chaotic, violent, and fast. Eli's heart pounded, but his mind remained calm. Every choice mattered, every second counted. Slowly, he guided the enemy into a trap. Energy beams converged, cutting off their escape. Cannons fired in unison, destroying the enemy lead ships. The rest of the fleet faltered, retreating into the darkness of space. Below, the alien city cheered. The Queen appeared on the observation platform, her eyes wide with awe. She knelt briefly, not in fear but in respect and gratitude, before standing tall again. The soldiers below raised their weapons in salute, recognizing Eli's role as their savior. Eli exhaled, feeling the pulse of the station beneath him. He had done it. The enemy fleet was defeated, for now. The orbital station hummed, alive and responsive, a silent testament to human ingenuity and courage. Ryan approached, his face filled with relief. "You have saved them, human. The city is safe. The Empire survives." Eli nodded, exhaustion hitting him. "It's not over," he said. "They will return, but for now, they survive." The Queen walked to him, her eyes filled with respect. "You have done more than we could have imagined. You have proven the truth of the legends. Humanity is a force not of domination, but of guidance, protection, and choice." Eli shook his head. "I don't want power. I don't want to rule. I just helped because it had to be done." The Queen smiled. "That is what makes you human and what makes you extraordinary. You chose to act when others could not." Eli looked out at the stars, at the alien fleets below, and at the orbital station that hummed with life. He realized something he had not understood before. The greatest strength of humans was not in weapons or in strategy, but in choice. The ability to act, to decide, and to guide without seeking glory or domination. He felt a pull in his mind, a reminder of Earth, of home. He had guided the Empire to survival, but now it was time to return. Not as a ruler, not as a hero, but as a witness to what humans could achieve. The station pulsed one last time, acknowledging him, its network alive and secure. The city below would thrive, the fleets would recover, and the alien civilization would remember the human who had saved them. Eli stepped onto a shuttle, setting a course for Earth. He looked back one last time at the alien world, at the Queen who had knelt for him, and at the people who had learned to trust him. He carried proof of humanity's greatest strength: choice, courage, and the will to protect others without seeking reward. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. Eileen leaned back, feeling the hum of the shuttle, the pulse of life around him, and the quiet knowledge that humanity had once again made a difference in a galaxy far from home. And far beyond the alien homeworld, the universe waited, vast and full of challenges, but also full of hope, for those willing to act, for those willing to choose. Eli closed his eyes, the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders, and smiled. He was human. He had acted, and he had left a mark that would be remembered for centuries. The stars welcomed him home.